So I'm using the same thumbnail and the same kind of title, right? How do we make $6 million in 90 minutes? Well, we do it through group consulting, group training. We work with dealerships. We work with marine dealerships. We work with power sports dealerships. We work with different retailers, mountain bike stores. We do all kinds of work here at Manana No Mas. And, beyond what we do as an agency with, the websites and the e-learning and all of those things, it's all of it comes together. And at the risk of confusing future clients, we used to try and put like everything in one bucket. We used to say, hey, we can do all these things for you. And, people go, oh, I don't, how can you do all those things? I don't know. And so then we started splitting things up. We said, okay, we're going to do the Power Sport Academy for power sport training, right? We contract with the Marine Retailers Association so that we can do the marine training. We have contracted, would it be a contract? I don't know. We'd have to really see. It's a gentleman's agreement that we do with Rumble, with Hero Hub. Hero Hub, we do the service training for Hero Hub, right, through the Power Sport Academy. So we do the Hero Hub training too. We bring so much stinking value to the conversation when we meet with dealers and we flesh things out. You see, that's the magic, right? So when people are like, what's the magic? That's the magic. The magic is when we interact with you and your staff, we extract the information we need to give the best information at the time. So a perfect example of this is today's training session. I'm meeting with a very, very, what I would consider an advanced dealership. These cats got their act together. I mean, they track this, they track that. They got a beautiful facility, multiple showrooms. They to look in from the outside, right? Like outside looking in, drive by their dealership, stop by, walk through, meet the people. You would make an assumption that this place doesn't need training. That, folks, here's an earmark of what makes them great as far as a dealership goes. From all external appearances, they wouldn't need the training, but they take the training because they know that the pathway to growth is through knowledge, through instruction, right? So they're all in. They're all in for the training. Again, if you were to visit their dealership, if you were to show up and walk there, like, you would be like, this place doesn't even need the training. What are they taking the training for? And then they take the training, and through the expertise of open-ended questions, discussion, we begin to explore and find out, oh, we're missing giant swaths of opportunity. And so there's been a couple of examples already. We're already a few weeks into training. There's been a few examples already where, they'll say something, I'll banter back, and then we start to explore, go deeper with something. Today we had a kind of a question, and it was dealing with sales. Now, most dealerships really focus on sales, right? And so if I'm doing the training and then we have like a sales issue, that's kind of a unique thing. So and this is the dealer where a few weeks ago we had said, hey, it's 100%, follow up on sales. That's required, right? So if you're going to be a certified dealer, you have to follow up with 100% of your sales. And I said, and that means, whether they bought the unit or not. And that's when they said, ooh, well, we follow up with customers that buy from us, but we don't really have a process for following up with customers that don't buy from us. And that led to a whole conversation. Well, how many touch points do you think a customer needs before they buy, this capitalized product that you're selling, right? Picture this. If you're in any kind of like high level sales, right? It could be automotive, motorcycle, boats. In today's market, could be mountain bikes, houses. How many touch points do you need with the average consumer before they make a purchase? Like, you need to know that. You need to know like how many times. So if I meet somebody and I have a conversation with them about buying a new boat, for example, how many more times am I going to talk to them about the prospect of buying a new boat before they go, that's the one I want, and they sign the paperwork and tow the thing away behind their Suburban? It could be 10 times, 13 times, 15 times. If I am a professional, I understand how many touch points is the average. And so I can kind of build a strategy where I can condense the timeline for the touch points and make the revenue event happen earlier or more frequently. This is not manipulation, right? This is not manipulating people into or forcing them to make a decision they don't want to make. These are people that are going to decide to buy the boat or not, buy the motorcycle or not, buy the house or not, right? But if you understand your vertical, if you understand where you're working and you understand how many touch points on average it takes to close somebody, you're going to be able to strategize a way to condense that timeline and make that happen more quickly and give yourself more avenues to revenue. And so when we said sales is 100% follow up, well, we follow up with people we sell to. We don't follow up with people that we haven't sold to. If you don't follow up with people you haven't sold to, how are you going to make the sale? Think this through. If you haven't followed up with people that you haven't sold to, but you have all of their information, what are you communicating to them? You're communicating to them, hey, thanks for visiting, but we really don't care if you buy from us or not. Right? Hey, great to see you. Not, right? Because you don't even tell them that. You just let them go. You just ghost them, right? People don't want to be ghosted. They want, you're not nagging them, you're not spamming them. You're like, hey, thanks for stopping in the showroom today. People usually have questions right after they leave the showroom. Did you guys have any questions that weren't answered today? Right? Hey, thanks for stopping in last weekend. Right? We're open through the holiday this weekend if you want to come take another look. Like whatever the message is, you want to reduce these touch points down. Right? Hey, I noticed you were looking at an XYZ. Turns out the XYZ is coming out with a new model next month. Are you interested in the newest of the new, or would you be more interested in saving a couple of dollars on this one here that's in inventory? Like having that kind of communication with someone who hasn't bought from you yet increases the likelihood and compresses the timeline that somebody would normally take to make a decision. Now, if you sell, let's say you're selling Ducati motorcycles and your average, and at your dealership, you're selling, on average, a certain model of Ducati, right? And so let's say that your average sale is $26,000, right? $26,000 like as a package. Well, if you could process another 10 of those a year, it's another $250,000. That's what I'm driving to. That's what I'm driving to, folks. So now let's say I'm selling boats. Okay? Let's say that at my dealership the average boat purchase is $120,000 a year and I sell 10 more of those for the season. Well, that's $1.2 million. Now, I realize I'm talking in terms of revenue. You still have to take cost of goods out of there and separate your margins and your, commissions and all that. But as a business, if you can increase your sales by $1.2 million simply by sending some follow-up texts, emails, and phone calls, you'd want to do that. Yes? Like I'm assuming yes. Now, some people are going to see this video and they're going to say, well, those people would have bought anyway. Like following up and nagging them to make them buy earlier. I mean, but they would have bought from who? From who? From the dealer that paid them attention or the dealer that ghosted them? Who would they have bought from? How many times as a customer have you gone to see something at a store? Let's say it could be any consumer good between $500 and $750, right? And so you go and you look. You're at a mall, you see it, you go, oh, that's cool. And you go, you know what? I'm going to stop at Best Buy and see if they have it, or I'm going to stop by at Tractor Supply, and see what they have it for, right? I'm going to look on Amazon and see what they have it for. You start guessing and dinking around, right? Now imagine you're a salesperson at a boutique store that has this unit, and you sell it for $799. Okay. But you know their name, you got their contact information, they left your store, and you text them and you said, hey, a lot of people have questions that come up after they leave. If you have any questions about the XYZ for $799, just hit me back and I'll get you a response. Right? The customer is going to think to themselves, well, that's weird. No one's ever texted me over that before. Right? You've already separated yourself. You've already made yourself better than everybody else because you're the only person to follow up. Amazon sure as heck ain't following up unless it's some kind of automated abandoned cart situation, right? And so is Tractor Supply following up with you? Probably not, right? And so this little boutique store did though, right? And then a couple of days go by and they say, hey, the new model of this comes out next month. We still have 2 of these in stock. If you'd like to save 8%, 10%, 12%, whatever, and take one of our inventoried units, now would be the time to save. Boom. Condense the timeline, sold. Give them 10% off, saves them $80, right? And you're still in the margin of retail from other retailers that didn't step up and serve the customer well. Now, the customer is going to say they got great service from you. You followed up with them, you remembered their name, you followed up with them and let them know when it went on sale, you had it in inventory, you were able to sell it, deliver it, build it, whatever, right? They're going to tell 10 of their friends that they had a great experience. Now, if they had a bad experience, they would tell 100 of their friends. Let's be very clear. If they would have had a bad experience, they would tell 100 people how much you suck. But when you do something right, you might get 10, right? Now, if a person comes in and pays retail plus to you at your boutique and they're happy and they refer you to 10 more people, bada boom, bada bing, you're in the ballpark. Let me break this down more simply. We have a coffee shop in town. Uh, People that go there love it, right? It's right on Main Street. People that go there love it. They gave a gift card away through the Chamber of Commerce. I won the gift card. I had a woman come up to me and say, I also won a prize. I'll trade you prizes because I love that coffee shop so much. All right. When someone does that, what does that do? It elevates the status of that store exponentially. Now, 15 people at this event are going, she's going to give up a prize worth probably $100 for a prize worth $25 because she wants to go back to that store. It's her favorite store. All right. Favorite coffee shop. Folks, these are the ways that we help dealers generate $6 million in 90 minutes. I wish that I was making it up. I wish that this was a lie. I sometimes really do wish. I got to check comments and make sure I'm not missing stuff coming through. Sometimes people see me live and jump in. If you're live and you want to jump in, feel free to jump in. I wish I was making it up. I wish that dealers didn't have so much low-hanging fruit at their stores. The truth is, the owners don't really understand how much low-hanging fruit is at their facility. I'm going to give you another example from training. I am working with a dealer group, and the dealer group is really good about tracking finances. They know their finances, but there's different levels of knowing things about your business, right? So they know how much revenue each department brings in. Now we're talking about a dealership, so they have sales, parts, and service, right? And so, well, I know how much my service department does in money, and I know how much revenue my parts department generates, and obviously I know what sales does. And then they got really honest, and they said, "But you always ask about like how many repair orders and how many hours per repair order, and we don't really track that." Now I found that to be pretty amazing. Now they're just moving over to Lightspeed, right? And so now you have to ask yourself, well, if you didn't have Lightspeed before, how were you tracking things before, right? Looks like, what was your dealer communication system like before? Were you writing repair orders on a napkin, right? Like you want to know, like what were you using, and why is what I'm talking about now so earth-shatteringly different? But a lot of dealerships are like this, where they really don't know. So when I go into a dealership and I talk to the service manager and I say, "Hey, how many boats did you work on this month?" They're not going to know. If I say, "How many motorcycles did you work on this month?" They're not going to know. "How many lawnmowers did you recondition this month?" They're not going to know. How many hours did each technician generate? They're not going to know. How many hours does your shop generate on average every month? They're not going to know. They should know, but they don't know. And the information's there. I mean, they have repair orders, right? That's how they track everything that gets done in the shop. And so they should know how many repair orders they made in a month. They should know how many hours per repair order they were able to generate. They'll know the total number of hours their shop did divided by the number of repair orders made, and that'll be how many hours per repair order. They should be able to take the revenue they generated in labor, divide it by the hours that they performed, and figure out what their effective labor rate is. Because the effective labor rate is how much revenue they brought in for the hours that they worked, not the posted door rate that's on the front of the building. So if they say their shop rate's $160 an hour, they maybe only brought in $120 an hour. And then you have to figure out, well, then where did that $40 an hour go, right? And how valuable is it to either get that back or just be realistic and go, okay, so our posted labor rate is that, and this is why our effective labor rate is different because this is the way we chose to do business. Like that's a conversation to have. But if you don't know, then how are you supposed to measure anything and move forward, right? And that's like the biggest parts, right? Is like how do we recognize and move forward? So again, go back to my thumbnail. Help somebody generate $6 million in 90 minutes. If you are talking to a dealership that doesn't track repair orders, number of ROs, hours per RO, how many lines per repair order, percentage of customer pay to warranty, well, then there's just money. There's just money laying around everywhere. Here's one. If I talk to a dealership and they pay all of their service staff by salary, chances are, just a chances are I'm going to look at their customer pay and their warranty percentages. Chances are their customer pay is going to be really, really high as a percentage of revenue, and their warranty is going to be really low as a percentage of revenue. And that's because dealing with the manufacturers and filling in warranty claims and reconciling warranty claims is a pain in the rear end. And if you're paying them a salary, well, then they're getting paid, right? Their goal is to make the customer happy. If they can just keep the customer from squeaking, everybody's going to be happier. So they'll take care of the customer and they'll bend over backwards to take care of the customer. And when the customer smiles and drives away with their Suburban and their boat strapped to the back of the truck, it's forgotten about. What needs to happen is there needs to be a repair order. There needs to be a concern, cause, and correction documented. There needs to be a labor operation assigned to that repair order, and there needs to be a claim filed with the manufacturer so the dealer can get reimbursed. Something as simple as, a gauge not being correctly connected to the CAN bus network. If it came from the manufacturer, pre-rigged and ready to go, and something doesn't work because it wasn't connected properly, you're looking at 2.5 hours of labor that you can claim. And if your shop rate's $150 an hour, well, that's 450 bucks plus any parts. Now, you would think to yourself, 450 bucks, that's not a lot. I mean, the grand scheme of things, you know, we just talked about how a boat could cost, $100,000. And so if you lay $450 up against 100 grand, that doesn't seem like a lot of money. What's the big deal? The big deal is it might be $1,000. It might be $200. It might be anything. If you don't document it, you'll never know. That's the crazy part. You'll never know. Now, what you could do is you could figure out, hey, what is the average for dealerships between customer pay and warranty? Look at your percentages and go, ooh. And in a lot of cases, it ends up being hundreds of thousands of dollars. I once worked with a motorcycle store that wasn't making warranty claims, and in the course of a year had failed to claim about $750,000 worth of work that was done by the service department that never got billed to the manufacturer. And the manufacturers have like terms on these things. Like you have to make your claim within a certain amount of time. It has to be approved by a field representative. It can't be, you can't make a claim on something that's already done and gone. Like there's rules. There's rules for this stuff. And so if your shop's not following the rules, it's just revenue that's out the window for you. Now, in that example, I said maybe it's $450. Okay. But what if it's 100 of them in a month? Oh, that changes things quite a bit, doesn't it? Now all of a sudden we're talking about 45 grand. Now over 10 months, that's $450,000. And that was just one example. So, how do we help dealerships create millions of dollars in 90 minutes? Well, our training sessions are 90 minutes long. And so we put people into these group training sessions for 90 minutes each. We have conversations, we ask open-ended questions, we follow a curriculum. There are requirements to become a certified dealer, and that's whether you are in the Powersport Academy, in Hero Hub, or I'm working with you as someone that works with the MRAA. If you are interested in this kind of conversation or training and it's not related to power sports or marine, then you probably want to get in touch with me on the kurtvonahnen.com website, because I do a lot of one-on-one business consulting for companies through kurtvonahnen.com. I can't bring this home hard enough. I can't. This year especially, I've been looking at the revenue that we've generated for these other stores. It's mind-boggling. This all came from a podcast I did earlier in the year. I interviewed a sales expert. She is phenomenal at what she does, but her bio said responsible for selling over $150 million in goods and services. And it occurred to me, holy crud, I am literally responsible for the sales of tens of millions of dollars in products and services. Tens of millions. Now I'm old. I'm 56, I'm 58. I'm 58 years old. So I'm a little long in the tooth. But it's literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions. I tried to do the math the other day. I mean, if we just take my experience in the automotive field as a service advisor and manager, and I just take like the law of averages, okay? And I say, okay, well, let's figure this out, right? Let's say $160,000 times 50, right? That is 8 million, right? And that's a year, right? So that would be $8 million a year times 20 years. Folks, that's $160 million. That's $160 million right there. Like that's just from the service industry. That doesn't even get into what I did working for the original equipment manufacturers. When I look at raising the sale of OEM parts for a manufacturer through the dealer network by 28%, it's literally millions of dollars. Literally millions of dollars. When I look at these continued dealerships. Last week we did this talk, and it was $6 million in 90 minutes on one thing, on just one thing. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. If you have a retail store and you sell motorcycles, boats, mountain bikes, cars, we need to be having a conversation. We just need to be having a conversation. I can help you find this money that's just laying all over the floor. Let's just pick it up together. Let's just pick it up together. If you are looking for the best deal on Powersport training, the best deal on Powersport training is through Hero Hub. I'll be honest, it's cheaper to hire me through Hero Hub than it is to hire me through the Powersport Academy. At the Powersport Academy, I'm still holding dealers to an annual training regimen. We do have some self-study options available, but if you want the coaching is where the magic is. If you want the monthly coaching and a year's worth of training to work with your staff, that option is at powersportacademy.com. Go and check that out. I really encourage you to go and check that out. If you have a marine dealership and you're like, I want some of the magic Kurt's talking about at my store. You want to go to mraa.com. mraa.com. It's not my business. I simply do some training for them. But mraa.com is where you want to go to take your dealership to the next level. I don't even know if they want me actively promoting and trying to sell at this level, but I just got to be honest with you. I'm having a really hard time being quiet about it because we are bringing excellence to people. We are exposing, again, like I said earlier, giant swaths of improvement that are available at all these stores at all levels. The store I was talking to today, I can't tell you, I can't overemphasize enough. If you drove in, if you visited, if you saw them for the first time, you would assume they don't need the training. You'd be like, oh, this place is awesome. They don't need the training. It's like a Ducati dealership. You go into a Ducati dealership and they got the Italian marble floors and the bikes are all pretty and the showroom looks great. And you look around and go, this place is amazing, right? And you would assume they don't need the training. And then as soon as you start asking some questions, you're like, holy crap, this place needs some training, right? Like if I walk into a service department and I see like a pile of repair orders on the counter, you need training. You can't leave that stuff out there. That's private information, but it's there, just laying out there in the open, right? When I look at them answer the phone, when I watch them write up a repair order with the customer, all of these things are sending off giant flares in my brain to go like, oh my God, if we fix this, we can help them make an extra $100,000 a week. If we fix this, we can do an extra, $1.2 million this year in the service department. If we fix this, we can do 800,000 extra in revenue through parts through the service department. If we fix this through sales, we can grab another, $2.7 million through the F&I department. There's like all of this opportunity is there. And I'm not saying the people that work there are stupid. They're not stupid. They're just can't see the forest through the trees, man. They're in it and they can't see it with the proper perspective to find the money and pick it up. That's that. Folks, have yourselves a wonderful day. We're having a great week here. It's tax day for a bunch of people. So if you don't have